In a world of ever-shifting borders and political landscapes, some ideas seem so wild, so improbable, they exist only in the realm of what if. But what if one of those what-ifs actually happened? What if our friendly northern neighbor, Canada, suddenly became the 51st state of America? For centuries, we've shared the longest undefended border in the world. Two nations, side by side, distinct yet intertwined. But imagine a day, a pivotal moment in history, when that border vanished. Not in conflict, but in an act of monumental, unprecedented unity. Today, we're diving deep into a hypothetical future, a future where Canada embraces the stars and stripes, becoming the 51st state of America. What would that truly mean for both nations and for the world? Buckle up, because this isn't just a political thought experiment. It's a journey into a dramatically altered reality. It sounds like something out of a blockbuster movie, doesn't it? Canada, the 51st state. But let's play this out, not as a dry political analysis, but as a story. A story of what it would feel like, day by day, as two distinct cultures began to merge. Our story begins on a crisp autumn morning. The news has been buzzing for months, then weeks, then days. Referendums in every Canadian province, intense debates, passionate speeches, and finally, the vote. A narrow, yet decisive yes. The ink is dry on the historic documents. And just like that, the Great White North becomes the Great North-ish state. The initial days, even weeks, would be a whirlwind of adjustment. Imagine waking up and your dollar is now the American dollar. The loonie and the toonie become collector's items overnight. Your favorite Tim Hortons coffee is still there, thankfully, but now you're paying in cents. And suddenly, driving on the right side of the road doesn't feel quite as Canadian. But beyond the monetary and mundane, the cultural ripple effects would be profound. Healthcare, for example. Canada's universal healthcare system, a cornerstone of its identity, would suddenly be on a collision course with America's more privatized model. This isn't just about policy, it's about deeply ingrained values. Would Canadians fight to retain elements of their system, or would they slowly adapt to the American way? The debates would be fierce, the compromises hard-won. And then there's the sheer scale. America, already a continental giant, would swell even further. Its population would jump by over 38 million people. Its landmass would become truly immense, stretching from the sunny beaches of California to the Arctic reaches of Nunavut. Think of the new congressional districts, the increased representation, the fresh voices in Washington. For Canadians, it would mean a direct say in American politics, a voice at the table that was never there before. But let's not forget the quirks, the unique flavors that define both nations. Hockey, for instance. America loves its sports, but Canadian hockey, it's a religion. Would the NHL suddenly expand its American footprint even further? Or would Canadian teams now be seen as representing not just a city, but a state within the Union? And poutine. Would this glorious gravy and cheese curd concoction finally conquer America? One can only hope. The identity shift would be perhaps the most fascinating element. For generations, Canadians have defined themselves, in part, by not being American. That polite, slightly reserved, distinctively Canadian persona. How would that evolve? Would they become American Canadians, a new hyphenated identity? Or would they slowly, subtly merge into the broader American tapestry, retaining regional accents and traditions, much like Texans or New Yorkers do today? Consider the resource wealth. Canada is a treasure trove of natural resources. Oil, gas, timber, minerals. All of that would now be under American jurisdiction. What would this mean for energy independence, for environmental policies, for indigenous land rights? The economic implications alone are staggering, potentially shifting global power dynamics in unimaginable ways. And what about the military? The Canadian Armed Forces, while smaller, are highly respected. Merging them with the colossal US military would create an even more formidable fighting force. Would Canadian military traditions be absorbed, or would they influence the American military in return? Now, let's address the elephant in the room, or rather, the province. Quebec. Its distinct French language and culture have always been a powerful force within Canada, often pushing for greater autonomy, even independence. How would Quebec react to becoming part of an even larger, predominantly English-speaking nation. Would the calls for sovereignty intensify, or would a new equilibrium be found? This alone could be a source of immense tension and political maneuvering. The impact on international relations would be equally monumental. The US would gain an even stronger voice on the global stage, with a vast northern border and a more robust Arctic presence. Its diplomatic weight, its influence in international bodies, all would increase. How would other nations react? Would they see it as a natural evolution, or as a worrying consolidation of power? But let's bring it back to the human element, the everyday lives of people. Imagine the exchange of ideas, the mingling of traditions, new holidays, new slang terms, new ways of looking at the world. American football gaining traction in Calgary? Maple syrup becoming a staple in every American diner? The possibilities are endless and often delightfully unpredictable. Of course, this isn't a utopian vision. There would be friction, disagreements, and moments of profound cultural dissonance. But there would also be immense opportunities for growth, for learning, for forging something entirely new. A stronger North America, unified by shared values, even as it celebrated its diverse regional identities. As our story concludes, it's clear that the implications of Canada becoming the 51st state are vast and multifaceted. It would be a journey of adaptation, compromise, and ultimately, transformation. A testament to the idea that even the most established borders can blur, and that the future, no matter how improbable, is always waiting to be written. So what do you think? Would you welcome our Canadian friends with open arms, or would you mourn the loss of a distinct nation? What would be the biggest challenge, and what would be the greatest opportunity? Let me know in the comments below. This hypothetical journey might seem far-fetched, but it sparks an incredible conversation about identity, sovereignty, and the ever-evolving tapestry of our world.